Hello everybody, Mr. JK from FM Scout. Today we're going to look at the best free transfers available, and we're going to use the position of goalkeeper. So we're going to do the best 15 players. So the first player will be the best player available on the new patch. The second, and then obviously the 15th will be the worst. And the reason I'm doing 15 is because not everybody starts with a big team. So you might be a championship team, and you might want to sign one of these players, but obviously the bigger players don't tend to come to the lower league teams. So we're going to do 15, and we're going to get straight into it. The teams I've got loaded, the leagues I've got loaded, sorry, are these right here. So it's completely up to you if you load these leagues, but these are the leagues that will probably bring these players out. Brazil mainly, there's a lot of good free transfers there. So the very first player is a guy called Timo Hildebrand, a German guy, 35 years old. As you can see, 35, he's got good stats. He'll probably be good for a season or two. Maybe a mid-table Premier League team. In terms of transfers, he wants 18.70, in terms of wages, sorry, he wants 18.75k, which isn't bad. It's not a lot of money if you're a big team. And in terms of history, he's made a total of 365 appearances. His last club was Frankfurt, where he made no appearances. So, like I say, it's completely up to you. He does look a good player. He is the best player available in terms of current ability on FM15's new patch. The next guy is a guy from Brazil, Marcelo Alvas. He is 33 years old. Looks more of an all-round type player. Definitely good for backup. He's currently wanted by 5 clubs: Apollon, Midtjylland, Eupen and FC Metz. In terms of history, his last club was Vasco in the Brazilian National First Division. He made a total of 91 appearances. So as you can see, he went a few years between 2000 and 2005 with no games at all. So he's one of them players who'll be very good for backup. In terms of wages, he'll be looking around 9.5k, which isn't a lot of money, especially for a backup type keeper. And the next guy is a guy called Felipe. 30 years old. If you just type Felipe in the taskbar, there will be a hell of a lot. The best thing to do is just click age, and that will bring all the ages in order. So you want to look for 30 years old. So just scroll down to the 30 years old, and it's a guy called Felipe, which I take it it's one of these. This guy here, a goalkeeper. He's okay. He's got better physical stats than anything else. He's got a few good mental stats, and he's got a few good goalkeeping stats. In terms of wages for this guy, he'll be looking around 15k. I've lost him. He'll be looking around 15k. His stats, his last club was at Flamengo, where he made 8 appearances, but a few years before that, he looked like he was the first choice goalkeeper. He's made a total of 228 appearances. The next guy is a guy called Roberto. Once again, if you put Roberto in, there's going to be a lot of Robertos that come up. Switch it to people, put the age in order, and he is 35 years old. So we go down to 35 and look for Roberto, just here. Goalkeeper, not as good as many others. He's got good reflexes. His main attributes is okay. He's got good communication as well. He's not one to buy any clubs at the moment. If you went to sign him, he'd be looking for around 8.5k in wages, and his previous club was Ponte Preta in the Brazilian league. He's been their first choice keeper for the last 2 seasons. He's made a total of 189 appearances, but he's had a few seasons where he's gone without no games as well. So it looks like he was mainly used as a backup for most of his clubs, apart from this club and this club here. The next guy will be Daniel Orland, a 34-year-old Swedish guy. His previous club was Rosenborg, obviously a pretty big team in Sweden. Norway, sorry. So this guy, he looks okay. Got good one-on-ones and good reflexes. It looks like a more of an all-round player as well. 34 years old. You could probably get him for 2 or 3 years as backup, or obviously if you're a lower league team, he could be your main keeper for the next few years. In terms of wages, he's looking for 13k. So every keeper we've looked at so far is not wanting more than 20k per week, which is always a good thing, especially if you're looking at the finances. Felipe Garcia is the next guy. So it will be this guy right here, 26 years old. Not too bad at all. More of an all-round player. Obviously, he don't look as good as the other players. So if you was to sign this guy, he'd be looking at 24.5k. So he's the highest one at the moment, but he's not as good as the rest. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more money on a younger guy, then this is the guy. His last club was Fluminense, where he didn't really make any appearances for them. He only made 3 appearances in 2 years he was there. Santos, it looked like he was the first choice keeper one season in 2009. And he made a total of 114 appearances. The next guy is another Brazilian, Vinícius Gandra, 25 years old. This guy right here, it looks pretty decent. He's already wanted by 5 clubs, mainly Brazilian, 1 Portuguese team as well. If you was to put a bid in for this guy, you'd be looking at 4.6k, which isn't bad for a 26-year-old. He's only made 10 appearances in his whole career since 2006, so he's lacking match fitness, he'll be lacking match experience, so it's a little bit of a risk. But for a championship team, if you could get him for a championship team, it'd be looking pretty good. The next guy is Heinze Müller, 36-year-old German guy. This guy is not as good as the rest, but like I say, some of these can be used for backup. If you was to sign this guy, I'd be looking for 11k, which is quite a lot. His last club was Mainz, where he made 10 appearances for them. It looks like he's been in Germany for the most of his career. He came to England in the Championship for 275k, and then left for 275k to Mainz, where he's been for the last 5 or 6 years. Camilo Vargas is the next one, 25 years old as well, so another young guy. In terms of wages, if you was looking to sign this guy, it would be around 33k for this guy. So he's wanted by 2 clubs, and as you can see, he's more of an all-round player. So he's 25 years old. Is probably one of the youngest we've seen. So there's definitely potential. His potential ability is more than likely going to be higher than his current. He's wanted by Atlanta and Torino, so he's got the potential to play in the Italian league. So he's a very good keeper. So if you can snap him up, he could possibly be your first choice. The next guy is a guy called Dida. He's from Brazil. He is 30 years old, so obviously there's quite a few. So switch it to ages and look for Dida. It's just there. Not great for 30 years old. He's wanted by Heinze in Brazil. He'd be used for backup more than anything. Comparing to the players we've just seen, is not near enough as good. He's made no appearances in his whole career, so I mean that's completely your choice. It'll be a risk, definitely be a risk. The next guy will be Duane Miller, a guy from Jamaica, 26-year-old. He looks pretty good as well. His potential ability will be a lot higher. It looks like he's the main keeper for Jamaica. He's wanted by a club as well. He's wanted by Oster in Sweden. In terms of his history, he was at Kristianstad in Sweden. So he's been playing in the first league in Sweden, so he's definitely got potential there. And the next guy is a guy called Lopez, a 31-year-old Brazilian. There will be quite a lot of Lopez in mainly Portugal and Brazil. So just switch to the age and look for a 31-year-old Brazilian guy. Just scroll all the way down to 31. There's quite a few. Maybe it's this guy, just called Lopez. There you go. He's wanted by a club at the moment. He's not great, but he'd be used well for backup. He's wanted by Heinze as well. Looks like Heinze is after a goalkeeper. But he don't look too bad. In terms of his history, he's had quite a lot of clubs, but he's only had 88 appearances in his career. And the final one will be Fernando Silva, another Brazilian, 32 years old. Fernando Silva. There may be quite a few that gets loaded up again, but just switch the age. Just go to 31 years old. Fernando Silva just there. Sorry, it's 32. Fernando Silva. Not great, but he is wanted by 5 clubs. Maybe for his experience. Wanted by a team in Mexico and 4 teams in Brazil. In terms of his history, He's only made 37 appearances as well. So yeah, that's the top 15 players. I'd suggest that you load Brazil if you was wanting some of these players that I've just shown you, because obviously a lot are from Brazil. So if you don't have Brazil loaded, quite a few of them won't show up. And that's it for the video of top 15 free transfers for goalkeepers. The next position I'll be doing will be left backs. So if you know any left backs that are pretty good on a free transfer, let me know in the comments and I'll have a look at them. I'll sign them on my save and I'll see how they perform over the season and I'll pop them in the video. See you all later.